Hello friends, thanks for joining me. I'm Scotty D, and this is an Epiphone, Chet Atkins SST. We'll be doing some work on it today, doing some finish repairs. It got damaged, it got dropped on its head. People have asked me if I was dropped on my head. Kind of looks like the fretboard may be a little bit separated from the neck. Also guys, be wary of shipping a guitar with full string tension on the guitar. You should loosen the strings and double box it. Package it yourself. Never trust the shipping company to package it for you, especially if their usual line of business is small packages. You know, UPS ground is the way to go if you're doing large packages, guys. Well, I know it's not the same in every town, but here in Nashville, man, the help they have over at Fedex must be a real challenge for them. I've had the guy come in with guitars before, leave them out at the street, like over by the mailbox. I've had him one time, he was trying to lay a guitar down on the driveway, like right behind the garage door. Like where if you got in your car and used the electric guitar or garage door opener, and you could have just backed right over the guitar with, you know, you wouldn't even have seen it. But I caught him in the act and told him, hey, I'll sign for it or whatever. But yeah, several times I've had guitars that customers have shipped in here that have just been mangled by FedEx. So that's all I got. So the fretboard is very much separated from the neck wood. I'm going to put it in an upright position and get the glue down in there before I clamp it. I'm also going to turn the truss rod counterclockwise to loosen it. That'll take a lot of pressure off this area. Abnormally tightened, extremely tightened. So with all that string tension and all this truss rod tension, this guitar was just ready to explode when it landed on its head. Wow, now it's starting to get loose after all those turns, or quarter turns. But yeah, wowsies. Got a little bit of wax paper. Keep the glue off the truss rod. Okay, this is the Total Vise number 7 with the swing arm pedestal. We're going to hold it upright for a little bit to get the glue down in the joint. Okay, I wiped it up with some wet paper towels. Now I'm going to wrap it with a rubber band. I want to do this quick before the glue dries. Stretching the band as I wrap. I'm going to go all the way up and I'm going to come back down. I can see it squeezing out a little bit right there. Nice little squeeze out's good. See it squeezing out in the nut shelf, which is good. I'll clean that up. And I'll use a couple spring clamps and set it aside for a few hours. And then I will work on the finish repairs. couple spring clamps on there. See the glue squeeze out there. I'll clean that up and then we'll let her rest. The unveiling of the neck glue up in fast motion. First, I want to make sure that I didn't glue the truss rod nut in place. Good deal, it's still moving. We'll leave it loosened for now. The rubber bands always seem to suck the oil right out of the wood. So first I'll clean it up with some warm water. All the glue residue, that is. Later on, when I oil the fretboard, those markings will go away, those dry spots. Clean off some residue from a sticker that was left on there. And that little CE sticker, that lasted the whole time until the very, very end when I was polishing it. It started to fray. So that ends up going away right at the end, which is good. Who cares about that thing? All right, for the headstock ding, first I'm going to try this scraper. And I wasn't getting anywhere quick, so I broke out the power tools. And if you don't like going to the dentist, I'm sorry about the noise. Mute your TV for a couple minutes. What I want to do here is get rid of all that broken looking polyurethane or polyester finish. Poly finishes are catalyzed finishes. You can never re-dissolve them with solvents like you can with lacquer or shellac. You have to remove it. It's kind of like when you break your windshield. They can put that stuff in there and keep it from cracking any further, but it still looks broken. The only way to get rid of it is to replace the windshield. And so it's kind of the same concept with polyurethane, polyesters, catalyzed varnishes, whatever you have. As long as you smooth it out, you can start to build up on top of it. Can't do that with glass, but we can do it here. So this is the Milwaukee black. It's a little less purple than a Sharpie, and thank you for whoever shared that with me. One of our subscribers here told me about that. But it actually has a little gold in it, some kind of metallic flake or something. So I went over top of it with this Mohawk black brown permanent marker. I'll build up some glue boost on top of that, and then I may just layer in a little more black as needed. And if I recall, yes, I did end up sanding it smooth and then wiping it with naphtha to see that, you could see these two different blacks when I was finished filling it in and sanding it. So I filled up my airbrush with a little bit of black and ran it through and just covered up the Epiphone and sprayed a little bit of black over this whole open book area at the top of the headstock. And then sprayed some clear finish over top. But we'll get to that in a minute. Stick around. We're going to be doing some airbrushing, which I don't do that often on my channel. I use a respirator when I'm spraying the glue boost, although I do have this wall fan. It's a ceiling fan that I installed into the wall. We'll get the Dremel out again with the little round burr and smooth out that poly. You can see the scarf joint in the neck. That's where they graft on a separate piece of mahogany for the headstock angle. I'll sand with a little 220 grit sandpaper. It's kind of a tedious process, this one. But the amazing thing is, start to finish, it was only a week and a half, start to finish on this whole job here. I know it's going to look like I get it all done in 30 minutes, but it took many hours. something like 8 hours. Naphtha to clean. And what I'm starting to see here is that there are cracks on the back side of the headstock. I mean the neck. Back on the profile side here. Oh, that was a mistake. That rotary drum, that kicks up way too much fine dust in an indoor setting, so I didn't continue on with the drum sander. The burr sander, or the burr bit, and the scraper is the way to go if you're indoors. You'll just get dust all over the place. Here, try this at home. So I'm going to get down to bare wood where we're going to find out that there's some cracks in the wood back here, and I'm going to use, and they're really, really fine cracks. I don't think they go too deep, but I'm going to use my thinnest possible glue for that, which is CA glue, cyanoacrylate glue, the Glue Boost Master Glue Ultra Thin. Yeah. The cool thing about the Glue Boost is I'm going to be able to use it to build back up to our final surface thickness with the Glue Boost, sand it all smooth and get it prepped for the shellac color and shellac top coats. And it's just amazing how this turned out. Usually when you spray a different sort of finish than the factory sprayed, there's a witness line that's awful and ugly, and it went away. I got it to go away. It was almost miraculous. You can barely see it. I mean, even under these really bright LEDs. So here's where we're starting to see that crack. We couldn't see at first until we removed some of that thick finish. And this has got to be one of the thickest finishes I've ever seen on a guitar. But right here you can see this crack. It's open. But we'll just really hose it down with Master Glue. Ultra thin. We'll accelerate. Once. Twice. 3 times a Glue Boost. Alright, let's get that accelerator out. A spray. Oh, I didn't film it. Anyway, so here was what I'm talking about, building it back up. I go from the ultra thin, and now I'm going into these fill and finish. Thin, fill and finish medium, and fill and finish ultra thin. There's the accelerator can. There's also the Ultra Glue Ultra Gel, which comes in a toothpaste tube, which I think I used on part of this. The good news is it cures almost instantly. Within a few minutes you're sanding. I highly recommend it. The cool thing about the shellac that I'm going to use too is that it dries almost instantaneously as well. I love shellac. As a matter of fact, one of the reasons I decided to get into this professionally is because of how much I liked using shellac and hot hide glue. Right now I'm scuffing up the entire headstock face because on a black surface I don't want to just deal with a witness line. I want to cover the whole headstock face. Witness lines go away a little easier over the wood grain, not so much over black. Black is rough. First I'll spray some clear shellac. This is a 1.5 pound cut. When you mix your shellac flakes with alcohol, we measure it, and the viscosity is described in pounds cut. After 2 or 3 layers of clear, I'll go in with a paintbrush and put in some medium brown. My brush was a little wet, so I wiped it off with my finger. You need kind of a dry brush. I mean, not dry, but there can't be too much shellac on the brush, or the color will flow out to the edges and leave a real spotty look. There I go, wiping it off again. Third try, drier brush. And I just want to kind of get a head start on the color. And that's why I'm going in with a paintbrush first, and then I'll go over top of it with the airbrush. Same color, medium brown with a little bit of red. And it's all translucent colors. There's no opaque pigments going on here. I'm going to add a little more red mahogany color tone. These are the dyes and stains. I'll put it in the airbrush and start darkening it. I'm doing this indoors next to my wall fan, and really no need to use a respirator with this shellac indoors. It's not toxic like lacquer. And it's impossible for me to use lacquer this time of year. In July, it's 90% humidity all of the time, and the feels like temperature is over 110 degrees. I think that's about 35 Celsius, and it's been that way for 30 days straight. There's just no way that you can spray lacquer. I mean, you could if you had a spray booth, air conditioning, stuff like that in your facility, which I don't. I work out of the house. When I'm spraying, which we'll do in a minute, we'll go down into the garage to do clear coat shellac. But I can keep the doors closed, I can keep the air conditioner running, and I have a big ceiling air filter. So there's the black. I did film that. Okay, here we go. So I put a little bit of Viva paper towel, ripped, so it has a frayed edge, and I tape it, and then I spray the black, and then I peel off the paper towel. That's how you blend in the black repair. Now we can go over top of it with clear. And I think now we're all done with the airbrush. We're going to move it on down, and we'll get out the air compressor. Here's a look at my shellac flakes. I mix it in a mason jar. It takes 2 hours to dissolve completely, so it's not that big of a deal. What I did was took lunch, set the little cup down on the table, and stirred it periodically. Now we're getting out the touch-up gun. This is the Stu Mac touch-up gun. I used a 10-pound air compressor with the PSI at 12 to 15 pounds. And again, there's a giant ceiling fan that's circulating the air and keeping the air fresh. Got doors and windows closed, air conditioner running. I got a nice 78 degrees out here. That's Fahrenheit. After each spray, I go in with denatured alcohol on a Q-tip and clear the nozzle. I come back out every 30 minutes to maybe 45 minutes to an hour, hour and a half, and I spray 10 coats total. After the 7th coat, I hit it with some Scotch-Brite Gray, and the last 3 coats I thinned it out a little bit, so I was shooting like maybe more along the lines of a 1-pound cut, maybe less, more diluted. I was trying to do a flash coat where I minimize the orange peel. Whenever you spray finishes, you do end up with orange peel. Typically, we have to wet sand it off. Here's our witness line between the poly and the shellac finish. It's going to be built up around the edges of the tape, and it's built up down the neck further where we had the cellophane. So now I peel all this off the same day, and then I let it set for 3 days. Hopefully the shellac will be hardened, and we'll go ahead and do our sanding and polishing and reassembly. So this is it. I sprayed on a Saturday, and I'm here on a Wednesday to do my final sanding, polishing, and reassembly. This will take a couple hours. You can see the orange peel there where the light is reflecting. Here's something I wanted to try that worked out pretty good. Denatured alcohol on a Q-tip, chased with a little scraping and then a little more of the denatured. And that really did a good job around the edges to get rid of that buildup of shellac. You start dissolving it, softening it. We give it a little scrape, and then we soften it and let it harden for a half hour or so, and then we'll come in with some files. This is the fret bevel file, or fret end dressing file from StewMac. It's got the finest double cut teeth on it. And there's that shellac on a Q-tip again. So this is what I decided to do, is use 4/0 steel wool. It really cuts through that shellac pretty quick. And it's almost like using 4000 grit over the poly. It polishes out, the scratches polish out real easy. This is the Meguiar's 105 Ultra Cut Compound. Look how good that shines up. I was really impressed. We still have a little witness line, so I think I'll go over it a second time with the steel wool. And to my surprise, the witness line almost completely went away. I was really happy. A little bit of orange peel is all that's left. And for most customers, that's just fine. They're looking for progress, not perfection. And that's what I give them. Now we'll try some of this varathane finishing wax. Shellac likes wax. As a matter of fact, in the wild, it is waxy, but they de-wax it somehow when they're processing it. I don't know how they de-wax the flakes, but they do. And then we add the wax back in later. So I'm super pleased with this. I'm going to live with a little bit of orange peel, and you know, that's just how it goes. No big deal. Probably won't get any complaints about it. But if they do complain, I'll say, hey, at least I'm not the one that ships with FedEx. And there's my Ultra Cut Compound. Oh yeah, I tried a little bit of pumice and mixed into it. There it is. I shake the pumice right over the headstock, and then I rubbed it real hard, and I think it got rid of the orange peel pretty much on the headstock side. I mean, it's still there, but you know. A little more buildup over here on the fretboard side, I noticed. we can get rid of that. No worries. And that's black for you. It shows scratches, it shows swirls, it shows fingerprints. So even though it's an Epiphone guitar, it has a long scale, like a Fender 25.5-inch scale, and it looks like we need to tighten up that truss rod. Because once the strings get on it, it's going to have way too much relief. Well guys, thanks for tuning in this week. I appreciate you hanging around. This doesn't have much volume to it unless we turn up the amp. It is a hollow body, but it doesn't project much. There's no sound hole, nothing, you know.